Squad up, y'all. Welcome back to another episode of The Squad. We are back. I'm happy to be back. I thank God I'm here. I thank God Jay is here. I thank God y'all are here. How are you, Jay?
I am in need of a nap, but I am here.
Understood. Same.
I don't catch naps often, but when I know I got time, boy, I want one real bad.
I feel that.
But it's whatever.
Got up early today. I had orientation. I'm back in school, y'all.
I'm so happy for you, and I'm hoping I'm gonna follow suit around there to that UAFB.
Cause I like when I tell you, like the campus like off rip is already better than where we've been.
I'm still upset.
It's trash.
I'm
trash.
I'm still upset that we had to get it out of mud like we did in comparison.
It's literally like we care about you here.
Like, bruh. Because where we had been definitely did not. Man, everything that you told me when we was talking about it, I was just like, yeah, we ain't had that. Yep, we ain't get enough of that. Yep, we ain't had that.
Yo, and there's a black women's org. It's called Be Women. There's a black men's org too, like a brother org called Be Men. So like Lady Society halves, basically.
Yeah, but
so for Be Women, this is how I know, like,
Bad Money, they got more support though. Oh, am I doing slander? Not gonna do it today.
We're gonna talk about that actually. But I got so excited, and this is how I know, like, this is what I'm supposed to be doing, be part of, because the girl who was explaining it to me, she was just like, yeah, and this fall we're gonna be starting up our Bible study. I said, oh, bit.
So they already starting a Bible study that's on campus.
There already Bible studies on campus, actually, but like this org, like that, this is the first time that they're doing it.
This to Be Women?
Yeah, and it's awesome that they're just starting it as I'm coming
in. Yeah, you where you supposed to be at.
Because I was questioning that too. I was like, Lord, do you want me to be involved on campus? Like, do you want me to be involved? And do I need to be involved in a Christian organization? How can I find a Black Christian organization? Even if it's not Black, but I did want to see if I could find one that's not toxic. Not toxic.
You said it's not toxic?
Yes.
Oh, Lord.
But hopefully we'll see. I have to get a feel for it and see. Then I checked out the choir table.
Oh, you are undergrad.
Yeah.
You do get to do everything you didn't
tables
do.
And stuff.
You get to do everything you didn't do. That's so cool.
I think about that. That's why when I posted the picture on Instagram, I said restoration, because it's actually restoration. Like, I'm doing everything that I should have been doing but didn't do. So
that's
like,
what's up.
I went to the choir table, and the girl was telling me about gospel choir, and she was like,
yes, sir.
She was like, well, this year they're going to Wales. I said, what?
Go. Yeah, you join it immediately. Let me go and see if I can slide a bit out too. They take grad students.
I believe so.
Don't play with me.
I believe so, actually, because I know you don't have to audition to be in it.
Play with me, play with your who. If they allow grad students that get in the program, boy, I'm gonna be in gospel choir. They're going
to Scotland.
Going to Wales.
I just gotta see how that will work with my work schedule though, just because like it's from 7 to 9 on Monday nights, and I work.
Okay. So they kind of like,
if I get this job where I applied to, I would be working. So
that's cool though. They kind of like UA, because UA kind of had gospel choir like that, where they had their stuff after time. I think Auburn was like the only school that had gospel choir as a class. So that's different. So yeah.
I mean, it's technically set up as a class.
But it's still
It's
like
a 1 credit hour class basically.
yeah, but it's still like after class out, like normal class hours. Like once you get in like the nighttime, you talking about labs and graduate level classes.
Yeah.
So that's a different like schedule. Most of, like remember we had it at 3.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was, even though that still felt like kind of like high school, like you doing it after school, woo, whatever. But that's cool though. 79, that ain't bad.
I mean, that's choir. It's God like.
So I was gonna say that's regular choir, like
Yeah, that's
rehearsal
choir
time.
church. Yeah.
So I fool with that. I know the gospel choir gonna slap. Let me see if I can slide up here and hang. Y'all take people that just don't want to be in the class. I don't need the credit.
Speaking of the church we used to go to, you trying to so there's an event coming up. You trying to slide?
I ain't even had to hear. Well, you know what? Let me do this.
I
Let
can't
me
even.
hear what the event is, and
So
then
it's
I'll decide.
so it's called the GLC reunion, and
No.
they bringing together like everybody from every location. So even if you still go there or not, if whatever location you joined at, come. So
You
like
talking about like Roebuck, the
yeah,
original church,
yeah,
the new
the
church.
Dr. Pepper warehouse, all that, and it's for Bishop's birthday because he's turning 70.
Uh-huh. I have nothing against my old church.
I know.
I
I
just
don't.
don't. I
I
just
suggested it because
don't.
I just I like to just get out and do stuff like that. Like just go
I,
out
I
and
just I just
go to
find no need to return to that building.
and that's all right.
It's like first of all, it be feeling like I never really understood how out the way it was. Till I would stop going. I was like, hey, like when I had to pass by certain times, I was like, this is a little stretch away from the house, boy.
Mm-hmm.
But then when I be hearing folks coming from Pelham to go to church to the west side, I have nothing to complain about.
Yeah, like I go to 280. I got like a 30-45 minute drive to get to church. But I like my church. Like
Yeah, I'm finna try to see if I can slide into Rock City one of these Sundays.
okay.
But like I said, I gotta get off. I gotta get one of these schedules where I'm off on the weekend.
Right.
That's another reason why I want to be off on the weekends, because I want to be able to go back to church. Because
Right.
this 11 to 3 slot I work is like prime church time.
It is.
Because you gave me like a 8 to 11 or something like that, or whatever. I can go to somebody church by 12. But this, nah. So bedside Baptist it is.
Well, I mean, sometimes that's what you got to do until you can get to where you're supposed to go. And then before you start getting there, like also just ask God where you're supposed to be. Make sure that that's where God wants you to be.
Yeah.
Because for a while I was bedside Baptist too, and that was because I was trying to figure out where God wanted me to be, and I was trying to figure it out without Him. I was just latching on to stuff that like most of what I was latching on to was prosperity gospel, and
Yeah, for
that's
sure.
not actually beneficial for anybody. It's because it's not really teaching you discipleship. It's not teaching you how to actually follow Christ. It's actually teaching you to follow Christ in order to get something and not to serve. Um,
Because that's why what scripture we was reading or what I was reading. It said get used to being in second place.
mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. I was just probably reading the message version. But what was that? Was that Colossians? Probably. Let me check.
That sounds like a Colossian scripture.
Cause I gotta go read Colossians 3:12 through 14. Yup.
But yeah, and that's for everybody. Like if you bedside Baptist at the moment, you watching YouTube sermons and you trying to figure out like you trying to figure out what church is actually for you, or you're feeling like you don't need church. Actually, you do need church. You need church simply for the community. You may not necessarily need the building itself, but you do need
You
to
need fellowship.
You need the fellowship. You need a space where you can come together with others and worship Jesus and honor God, honor Jesus, like, and live your life and spur one another on in living your life for Christ. You cannot do this walk by yourself. That's the purpose of the squad, actually. So don't get it out your head that you don't need church. You do. Christ wouldn't have like made the church. He wouldn't have been the cornerstone of the church.
He wouldn't have told up the church either if he wasn't thinking the church is important. Because if Jesus really thought the church wasn't important, he wouldn't have got as mad as when them folks went to treat the church right.
But yeah, talk to God about where he wants you to be, where he wants you to grow in him spiritually, because every church ain't for everybody. But ask him where he wants you to be, where your faith family is, and to just lead the way and be open, because understand your faith family may not look like you.
I ain't worried about that. I went to a diverse church.
Right. I mean, my church is a diverse church, but it's predominantly white. But
yeah,
and I thought about it for a second, but I was like, at the end of the day, like, we're here, we're serving God, we're trying to strive to be better representatives of Christ and to love on other people and serve other people, and I'm down with that. So
I think, and that's why I think I'm finna start, like, as soon as I'm able to go to Rock City, because it feels more like home, not because like, you know, all the people look like me, although that's a plus. I don't really care about that part. It's just, you know, I'm urban.
Yeah.
I'm real urban.
I'm more alternative and I can do some of everything.
I used to be very alternative, but then I was like, when I really started appreciating like home for me, I was like, yeah, I'm urban. So it's like I have more of that urban vibe or alternative vibe, a mix of the two when it comes to like going to church.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's like, I like my real righteous and ratchet.
And that's okay.
Without like, but like not the like, you know, ratchet that make you question your ability to, you know, that's too ratchet. That's
I'm more righteous and hippie. And
for sure.
That's
for sure. Yeah, that's you.
And when I say hippie, don't misunderstand me. I don't mean like new age stuff. I used to be there, but that ain't me. Like my actual style is like real hippie, minimal.
Yeah, that's you.
Yeah. But for the Lord, So this week, we're gonna touch on something that Jay and I discussed in our Bible study. And it is watching your mouth. And I wanted to talk about it because I wanted to be transparent with you all about like it's something that I actually struggle with. I want my tongue, my language to be more edifying, but it is actually a struggle for me. And I didn't realize how much of a struggle it was until recently, like probably 6 months or so ago, I started realizing it because I started realizing how caught up in gossip I could get. And I started not liking that about myself. And so I had to start separating myself from like when I would hear gossip. I had to like really start separating myself from like certain things I would see on social media. Mm-hmm. And not getting caught up in other folks' business, like, oh, what's going on with them? That's really not my business. And I had to also like yesterday I realized it because I went back to my job, the preschool I was working at, to see some babies graduate. And before I could even think about it, something flew out my mouth and I was like, girl, why? And I didn't like how it felt. I felt very convicted right after I said it. And I was like, it's not that I don't need to be here. It's not that. It's that there's something in my heart that's okay with that. And I don't want that to be in my heart anymore. And I don't want that because the word tells us out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaks. And so what flew out my mouth, I was like, why am I talking about that? Sometimes I would talk about the children and I was like, I'm not supposed to be talking about these children. God has trusted me with these children. why am I talking about these children? And now I'm in the process of trying to figure out how I got there, why I got there. But then I look at our society, and our society, of course, is not much different. That's what we do. Like, we just let stuff fly out of our mouth without even thinking about it. We talk about people. Why is it? And that's something that I've actually always thought about, but never thought about it in reference to myself, always to other people. Like, why do people talk about people all the time? But not even thinking about, like, you talk about people too. And so that is something, like, why do we talk about, like, what is it about talking about people that seems so intriguing? And that leads me to, like, what is it about following other people, following the lives of celebrities that make it so intriguing, beyond like the fantasy of having their lifestyle? But like, when something happens in a celebrity's life, case in point, Will and Jada, when something happens in their life, why are we like vultures ready to feast on it? And same with what is this on TV? Reality TV. The reason why they're coming out with so many reality shows like they are, like Real Housewives and Basketball Wives and all this stuff, all the franchises that's on VH1 and wherever else they're at.
Right.
Why is that? So like, the reason they're growing is because everybody's watching. Somebody's watching. It's a huge market. Why is that? Like, y'all, they didn't even went so far as to start traveling. Y'all in Huntsville now? Y'all want to know the business of people in Huntsville?
Yeah, man. Yeah, that's been a thing.
My mama watched that. My mama watched that.
And I ain't gonna hold you. They be embarrassed in Alabama, in my opinion. Because
I know, because I be
acting
walking
like,
my mama's room. I'll be like, what?
And then they folks with money in Huntsville.
Yes.
That's the crazy part. I'd be like, okay, so y'all, Alabama got enough problems as far as reputation. Don't add to it, please. We got enough issues. Especially now you making like most stereotypical stuff with black folks again. Thanks, people.
But even like right now, how you're talking about them.
No, I ain't talking about, I'm just talking about in general. Like, why would you bring bad things or bad like stereotypes? Because in my opinion, there's a difference between talking about somebody in facts. I'm not talking about them in no gossipy way. This is just facts on the image that is being portrayed on TV.
Well, on one hand, the image being portrayed on TV is humanity, imperfection. Which I think there's value in that. Like, even people with money got problems, got personal problems. But that also like should lend itself to understanding, like, it don't matter what your title is, it don't matter how much money you got, who you married to, you can still be unhappy inside, to the point where you commit infidelity in your marriage, to the point where you're not at you're exposed as a fraud, to the point of many different things, many different scenarios. Like, you should, if you're gonna watch stuff like that, look at it and realize, like, all this stuff I'm enamored with their lifestyle, but all this stuff that I'm enamored with, that I'm chasing, it's not even making them happy and bringing them peace. And don't do that from a judgmental place. Do it from a let me rethink my life place.
But I think that's the issue that we're in currently. The reason why we gossip and talk about stuff is comparison culture.
Yeah. Okay.
Because the majority of the time, like, when people gossip, the energy that comes from it is, I'm better than them, or they're not as good as they portray themselves to be.
Yeah, that's true.
And all of that still stems from comparison, whether you're comparing each other or you're comparing them to the ideal or a standard.
But even that goes to the comparison, that goes to then how you speak. We talked about this at Bible study too, about how you speak about yourself. Why are you looking at somebody else's life and comparing the two unless you're you're looking at your own life and speaking ill of yourself. You're fantasizing about their life because you believe that their life is better than your life, and i.e. you're speaking ultimately you're speaking death on your own life. You're being ungrateful for your own life. What is it? Sweep yeah, sweep around your own front door before you trying to sweep around like it's like you in the wrong business.
And that's your business.
Yeah, but also I won't even say sweep around your own front door. I'll say like the common one, like the grass is not always greener. It's not, or the grass is greener where you water it. So it may not look like, or somebody else's life may look better than yours on TV, but you don't know what they've gone through. You don't know what they are going through at the moment. And while you're more focused on what you don't have by looking at what they do have, you're missing out on what you do have. And then you're creating a cycle of it in your own life. And then you wonder why you're miserable and unhappy.
They always try to tell us, and that's the reason why social media is such a bad thing, in my opinion. Although it's good in other ways, it's because it makes everybody increase that in comparison. That's why a lot of folks be sitting there feeling like their life ain't fulfilled or they ain't where they supposed to be, because they're looking at other people's lives and comparing it to where, other things is and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And it gets to a point to where it just gets to a toxic cycle of just watching other people and thinking that this is how their life is for real. And majority of the time, people capping.
People post they say it all the time. Like, that's why it's called reels and highlights. People post the highlight reel.
Like, but even then, like, folks be capping, but the subconscious has already been so trained to compare that you automatically be like, oh, I wish my relationship was like this, or I my body supposed to be like that, or my mental health ain't like that the way I can be successful. All this other stuff. Just because you see people's highlights so much, not understanding the story that they have done in order to even get there, and that's both good or bad. So be capping out here for no reason. But even then, you just have to have the mental capacity to really process everything and be like, this is not real.
Right.
Like, even though this might be an episode out there a day, they go through way more than this.
Plus, a lot of reality TV is scripted anyway.
Right. If we talking about reality TV, majority of it is scripted. People need a check. And some people would do anything or look any type of way to get a check. So, like, when we be sitting there comparing folks' lives and looking at that and being like, I should be with this type of person, or the most interesting conversation.
Y'all better chill out with the relationship goals.
Because I'm trying to tell you, you don't know what type of stuff you had to do in order to keep that relationship together.
Exactly. That started happening for me when I was still in the world, still doing my foolishness, and I was looking at certain relationships in the media, and I was like, oh, I want a relationship like theirs. I want a relationship like theirs. And I would look at my own relationship and be concerned at the time and be concerned about why my relationship didn't look like this person's and this person's and this other person. And that could have possibly been to my own detriment. That was very much so to my own detriment, because it actually started to make me wonder about my own self and wonder about my self-worth and all of that. It's already a problem in the first place. But please stop with these relationship goals, and also stop trying to get into a relationship because you like how it looks. I see that a lot. Like,
you want to get into a relationship with somebody because you can flex with them. That ain't it.
That's not what that's about.
Like folks be, but the thing about it is, it comes from that, growing up. If I get with them, then I look better.
I saw something yesterday that talked about how a lot of people get in relationships to fulfill a deficit from childhood.
I ain't gonna hold you. A lot of folks, let's keep it a book.
Like, even especially with the give me I need somebody to take care of me and this, that, and the third. You miss your daddy. or you wish you had your daddy in your life?
Because I was just gonna point out that because sometimes they always say we
even
date our
I
parents.
need my woman to be independent and da, 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 da. Your mama misrepresented what womanhood was to you, and you didn't have, it's because you didn't have your daddy in your life, so she was trying to make up for the deficit.
Because I ain't gonna hold you. Now that I've matured in a lot of ways, I don't want my girl to be like my parent.
And I don't want
real.
same. I'll say that same. I don't want my husband to be and I also don't want to be like what I saw growing up as a woman, because she had no room for vulnerability. She had no room for softness. She had no room for womanhood, like womanhood in that sense. She had to take on both roles.
Right. And that's the reason why it's like
she had no room to be who she wanted to, who she was supposed to be. She's growing into that now, but like growing up, I didn't see that. She didn't have room for that as a woman, and I don't want to be like that.
And that's the thing. Like for me, when it comes to relationships now, I don't. How do I say this? My girl can be as soft and as emotional as she want to be. My mama was hard. She had to raise a boy. And at the same time, she also had to give up raising a boy. That's hard.
Yeah.
But and it's funny to say, you know how sometimes they try to say that you take on the emotions that a parent probably buried when you were born? I am my mother's emotion in that sense. If people want to talk about it like as
I feel like that too. Like my mom doesn't see it, or I think she is starting to understand it now and come to a place of understanding it. But like for the longest, she couldn't see why I would cry at the drop of a hat. And it's just because I'm the emotion that you buried. Like you couldn't be soft. You could ultimately you couldn't be human.
Exactly.
You
And that's the
human.
thing.
And
Like
I fought it for so long, and I fought like trying to figure out why nobody could be human.
Right.
Why is it wrong to be soft and loving and kind? God is revealing that part to me.
Why is it wrong to be affectionate?
Right. I grew up in a household that did not do affection.
Same.
And I reached for that in relationship. Affection was love to me. That was my deficit.
I went the opposite way.
Anybody who showed me affection, it was love.
And I went the opposite way. Like affection was so strange to me. Like if people showed me affection, I used to be like, what you doing that for? Not saying that I didn't want it, but it was such a strange thing to me. Mm-hmm. And then now that I became more of myself, I realized how much of an affectionate person I am.
Right.
I am extremely affectionate.
Same. And like I talked about it before, like that's a part of me I've tried so hard to hide and push away to my detriment. Like it actually hurt to push that side of me away. And I got in a relationship, my last relationship. I got to a point where I started feeling like I could be that, but then something happened and then I felt like I couldn't.
Yep.
And so I struggled with that back and forth for a while with trying to figure out, can I be emotional? Can I not be emotional? Can I be open? Can I not be open? Can I be loving? Can I not be loving? And my big issue with it was I wanted the way that I love to be reciprocated. And when it wasn't, I felt like I was doing something wrong. And so
nope. But at the same time, what I would say coming out of that too is nothing wrong with wanting your love to be reciprocated, but just know it won't be identical.
Right.
Like love can still be reciprocated. It just may be in another language.
Right. And that's what me and my relationship with my mom, I am learning that. But like we are learning to work with one another as we've already expressed like what our love languages are and why things occurred in our relationship the way that they did. And so now we are like, okay, now that we know each other's love language, we know how to maneuver in love with each other, or at least we're learning how. But for a while, that didn't. I mean that. I mean, I'm very lovey dovey. I ain't gonna say I'm a hopeless romantic because I'm not hopeless. I'm full of hope. I know
I'm just a romantic.
I'm a hopeful romantic. I'm very hopeful for what God has for me. I love love, and not the idea of love, but like as I learn what love is, I love it. I
Yeah,
love it. I love
yeah,
to do it. I love to love. It's awesome. And
yeah.
I'm becoming more and more comfortable with it after years of trying to push it away. But
Same.
it's I love it. It's awesome. I don't get how anybody else couldn't, but I do, just because if it's not what you know, which most of us don't know real love. If you don't know Christ, you don't know real love. Period.
Mhm. And
And
I will also say, in learning Christ, when your person does come along, he will break your person in a way to where you will have to become you in him in order to love them properly.
correct. Correct.
Because my partner now, I could not be the person I was before in order to love her the way I needed to. Because in order to love her the way I needed to, I had to become the affectionate, emotional person that I had buried.
Mm-hmm.
Or the one that I thought was never allowed, because I grew up in a place or an environment to where if you were that, you were weak.
Right.
Or if you were that, you were ignored because your emotions and experiences weren't important. Like, I grew up in Temptations. It's about the group. Like, nigga, it's about the group. And if the group is hating, unforgiving, and everything else, you the outlier.
They're coming to see the group. Ain't nobody coming to see you, Otis.
And the fact that I had to become, now I'm becoming like the God-infused David Ruffin.
What?
What I mean by that is to be different than the environment.
Don't
Because sometimes
I don't know if David Ruffin is for you.
what I'm saying is, in the Temptations, the way he was trying to talk to him was like, it's about the group. And there is a toxic version of that.
Okay, there is.
And I was in a very toxic version of it's about the group. Your individualism, your emotions, your experiences, how you feel, your trauma, not important. So when I would go out, I would compare that to other people and wonder, why we ain't got that?
Yeah,
They can have conversations and not feel like they're killing each other. Why can't we? Because that, and to be honest, comparison comes sometimes from childhood trauma, what you lacked.
Yeah, and that's you brought something up about family dynamic, and God has revealed something to me about this last night actually. And what he revealed was that, or last night or this morning, what he revealed to me is that in him we are, so if we're all created by God, that means we are all family. The reason why we mishandle each other is because we don't, our immediate family, we're not taught what family is. If in your immediate family, you're not taught what it means to truly love somebody, to truly handle somebody with care, when you go out into the world, you're going to operate however you were taught. And so a lot of people, until you learn differently, and a lot of people just have not learned differently, and they are still operating from that hurt place, that broken place. And that's what's causing all this hell to break loose. It's the way the enemy is moving in those broken places and in the hurt places. And he's basically deceiving people to believe this is how the world is supposed to be.
Yeah.
And it's not. That's not how God created the world to be.
And I'm gonna be honest.
He wouldn't have made people for people.
Exactly. And I'm gonna be honest. I'm gonna give a very transparent example. That was me so bad when I first got to college and throughout the years of being at school. until I hurt somebody's feelings that was close to me. I had learned growing up, because emotions weren't important or your experiences were not validated. And the only way I understood love was from a coach's perspective, which was constructive criticism. So I only knew toxic criticism, constructive criticism. That's what I viewed love was. So when it came to people, and Yana, you've seen me do this back in the day. If people asked me for my opinion, I would give it so raw and so blunt, no filter, no consideration for feelings, nothing. Sometimes it'll come off extremely cold.
Yes. If you've ever seen the TikTok where it's like, it was never going to be you. It was never going to be you. That was Jay.
100%. And even to this day, depending on what you asking me, if I've already told you, I might still come off that way. But it's more of I'm fed up rather than just, just being me.
Right.
But it was when I hurt one of our friends' feelings. And he came to me and said, I feel like when you said that, you said it like we weren't, like you don't want to be friends with me. And I was like, dang, I came off like that? He said, I really thought that you didn't like me.
I feel that. Not with you, but like, yeah.
But in the process, it was such a shocking thing for me to learn how cold and callous I had become when it came to trying to learn what love truly is, both in a friendship way, in a relationship way, or familial way. But I had been so trained the opposite of just criticism. Because the only form of love that seemed positive to me was in the sports world. So that's how I came off. And people had came to tell me, you have this mode where you go into coach mode. And you just shoot it straight, no filter, give people things they should do to be better, but you already crushed them so bad. They don't even know they can be better by even with the tips that you give them. And I even did that in romantic relationships because I didn't know any better. Until one of my friends had to break down to me and say, look, when you talking to your girl, and this was a female who told me this, she's like, I understand you because we've been friends so long, but you can't do that with your girl. And I was like, yeah, I understand. I'm really messing up. What I supposed to do? And this is while I was single. And she was like, you have to learn how to, the way you talk to your niece, I know you can do it. Because when you talk to your niece, and I heard you over the phone talking to her, you talk to her with so much care. You want to make sure she okay. You ain't yelling. You ain't screaming. You just talking to her. And it ain't even the babying part. It's just you're showing so much care. Yeah. And she was like, that's how I know it's in you. But you just ain't learned how to use it in other ways.
Right. And I think I'm glad that you said that, because I think it's important to understand that the same way, beyond your relationship, your romantic relationships, the same way that you would handle a child, you need to handle adults in the same way. You think of people talking about gentle parenting now. I think that's good, but also it goes beyond parenting. You got to be gentle with adults too, because some adults still need parenting. Not to say that that's your job, but we have to be gracious with one another.
Yeah, because that's why I always say this all the time, and people think it's funny, but I really am serious. Adults ain't nothing but grown children.
We really are.
That's all.
All of us are trying to do the best that we can with what we have, and what we've been given is not always the best.
Nope. We are children with bills.
And we're still trying to grow and become adults. Age don't make you an adult.
So don't.
By
That's why
technicality, it does. By technicality, it does. But in reality, no.
Right. Because every time people be talking about, and this is also not slight side note, but you know how folks always be trying to date older folks think they're going to find maturity?
Mm-hmm.
And that's why I always tell people, if age really meant maturity, there would never be the term old fool. Because I done seen some folks in their 50s, 60s, 70s still acting like the same way they was when they were 19.
And it's because something from their childhood has not been healed. Something that occurred with them at the age of 19 is still there. They're still 19 in their mind.
Mm-hmm.
That's what happens with trauma. Trauma leaves you stuck in whatever age it left you. Hurt leaves you stuck in whatever age it happened to you in.
And sometimes when it comes to trauma,
you feel 6.
Right. And you ever seen people, and I'm gonna be honest, this is how you know you be stuck in trauma for a long time. You just seen people that be talking and they forget what year it is.
Yes.
Because they trauma that had them stuck in this particular year for so long that you will say, oh, it's 2022. Like, it's 2022. They'll say, man, that was probably, it's still 2020. It is 2022. Oh, my bad. You still stuck in quarantine. Mentally. Or you still stuck in whatever year. I literally had a fight with some people it's a family fight. And I literally said in the middle of the fight, y'all still stuck in 2007. Because we still fighting like it's 2007.
Right.
And y'all still trying to treat people as if we still in 2007. Meaning, i.e., just being transparent, I'm 28. Y'all still trying to treat me like I'm 13. Like I'm still making the same mistakes I made when my granddaddy died. I know I dealt with that. And I have recovered. I have grown. Time has passed. I have forgave. But sometimes folks, because they stuck in the same spot you used to be stuck in, they would try to drag you back to it.
That's
because
true.
They ain't moving on.
Yeah, because growth is not clicking for them.
Nope. And then they looking at you like, how in the world you got to grow? You came out the same thing. Nick, I mean, woo. 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 I'm just saying. They get jealous of the growth that you had due to that comparison culture that we've been talking about. And because you've grown and they don't understand it, you the problem.
Right.
And now, all odds against you. Any argument, you the problem. They even to the point to where they would get selective amnesia and forget things you've done, even if you just did it. Will sit up there and try to turn things against you, even if you were just pointing out something to try to help. And it usually, the attitude that they got ain't got nothing to do with what you did. You just became the target because they don't like the fact that you ain't like them.
It's the crabs in the barrel mentality. It's the crabs in the barrel mentality.
And people think that it's just outside. Family do it the worst.
Yeah, family does it too. You can't. You can't get to the top. You came from the same place as us. You can't get out the barrel. We gonna try to pull you back down to the barrel.
How you trying to get out the barrel? We still in the barrel.
And it's also like.
Oh, you think you better because you done went to school?
Ooh, they think if you get out the barrel, you gonna leave them in the barrel.
Right.
And it's like, what if my plan is to pull you out? What if God is trying to use me to pull you out the barrel, but you still stuck in it? You the one stuck in it.
Right.
You stuck in it because you too worried about me getting out and you don't want to move. Or the only movement you making is to stop me from getting out.
Right. And you don't understand that stifling me is stifling you.
Exactly.
Like, folks don't get how bad generational curses be. And I be trying to, people with families, like, listen up, folks. I'm learning this. Whoever is the youngest part of your family, immediate family, 9 times out of 10, they are the person that either are going to get you out or going to work with you to get y'all out. Because there's a new link in the chain. And a lot of times, because of generational curses, we literally will pile everything on that last link. Either blame, confusion, bad ways to go, bad advice. We don't like you because you did something different, whatever. Rather than understanding, let me train this link in the way it should go. And in turn, with their freedom, I probably will be free too. Not saying that you have to rely on that person. Not what I mean. But at least sometimes your freedom and your healing can come from grooming that person to be different than what you went through.
Yep.
Instead of giving them the same pain, the same trauma, you just decide, you know what? I'm going to treat you different. Or if you feel like you are that person, i.e. me, i.e. you got to look back on the previous generation and be like, you know what? I'm going to have to do things that y'all ain't going to like. But I'm doing them out of love and out of what God wants me to do. There are going to be times that I can't be with y'all because I can't function. But I'm still going to love you and still going to help you in the ways that I can that will not be self-sacrificial, but will be promoting. If I can't do it, I can't do it.
Right.
And I'm going to tell you I can't do it. And you're going to get mad at me and I'm going to have to take them blows, but I'm going to still have to say to you, I love you still.
Right.
Because if I start to curse you with my mouth the same way you do me, I'm going to end up doing worse. It's not going to curse me and you. Especially if God didn't put it on you to be the new generation in this family that won't have the curses. Your mouth is so important because the other generation is going to just yell stuff at you or going to say stuff or be passive aggressive. And they're going to be spouting curses all the time. But in reality, you can speak a word over yourself to block out any of them curses. But the moment you react and respond in the same bit of poison they giving, knowing that what God had put on your life, you making it worse. They already stuck. They ain't see no different. But for you, you know better. So because you know better, he gonna call you to be better. So when you respond in your reactions to the toxins that they may use, they not accountable at that point. You are. God already got things for them that he gonna serve them up with. But you ain't helping when he done gave you another role. Yeah, you mad. I'm preaching to me. I ain't even trying to preach. I'm just talking to me. I know God talking through me, but talking to me. I know you mad. I know you upset. I know you feel like you done forgave, and you have, but you keep getting tricked. Every time I give you a revelation, you fall. The enemy got a trap for you right after. And that's how he's going to do all the time. Every time I give you a revelation, he's going to try to make you renege. So as soon as you get a revelation, I need you to armor up and I need you to prepare your mind because something coming. And I'm going to allow it to happen to give you a test to see if you really learning my revelations. Because when you act different, then I can be like, he learned it. But when you fall back in that trap, I'm going to have to send you right back around and learn a lesson again. Because you didn't get it. You got it, but you got tricked. So I got to make you battle tested. Because every time I give you a revelation or give you a blessing in your life or whatever I'm going to do to you, the enemy is going to lay a trap right after because he's not liking what I'm doing for you. At one point, you used to be his. You was his favorite. And now that I took you away from him and brought you back to me, you think he happy? No. But in his mind, he thinking like this. Oh, she thinks she done went back to God. I'm finna show her who she really is. Soon as God give you a revelation about something that's gonna change your life, you know what? Since she thinks she all that and then she figure it out, I'm finna send her hating mama to say something to her. Or, oh, he think he gonna finally elevate. Let me go and send him this to make him feel like he ain't got no money. Or she thinks she gonna finally have a child. Let me go and send her this. Let me go and send her this doctor that don't know what he talking about, this bad diagnosis. It's so, I'm telling you, he's so crafty with it that as soon as God sends you a revelation or gives you a blessing, gives you a dream, telling you the path you should go, he gonna try something.
And that's why it's important for us to be connected to God so that we can be able to develop discernment, so that we can have the Holy Spirit leading us and guiding us and filling us up and filling us up with that discernment, so that when those things happen, first, so that we can be, we're better connected to the people that we are supposed to be connected to, so that we are able to protect them and care for them as we should, not only physically but in the spirit, and making sure that we are walking with Christ. We are also being protective of those around us. We are it's a form of displaying love to those around us, because the enemy can and will try to use us against one another, as he does with our tongues, how we talk to each other, how we talk about one another, how we talk about ourselves, and how we talk about ourselves will affect how we talk to you and about you.
Because if you don't talk to yourself good, you ain't gonna talk to nobody else good.
Right.
What Dion said? I look good, I feel good. I feel good, I play good. I play good, they pay good.
Okay.
But if you think about it, if I talk to me good, I talk to you good. I talk to you good, you gonna talk to somebody else good.
Right. And that's how it's supposed to be.
It's a trickle down effect.
Exactly. So how do we do that? I want us to be able to talk, and not just I want us. This ain't just about me. Like I mean, his word tells us he wants us to handle one another with love. The greatest commandment is to love, and to love one another. First to love God, but then the second is to love one another as we love God.
I God, I hate you. I God, I hate you. Watch this. I'm gonna say something. It's gonna sound crazy. Watch this.
Okay.
The golden rule is the most toxic rule on the planet.
Oh yeah, listen. I'm gonna tell you why. I know why because God gave me that.
Hold on. I got it. Let me give a shout out. I was playing. Go ahead.
The revelation God gave me about that is like, treat others the way you want to be treated. Some people don't know how they want to be treated. Some people don't know how they need to be treated, and so you can't treat me like I want. Like I don't want you to treat you. It's a double-edged sword in saying treat others the way you want to be treated. Because some people have been treated so bad, they think that's the normal. They think,
and that's how they treat other people.
That's how they treat other people. And so we have to look to God's word to know how to treat one another in love. His word tells us to love one another. Then when you go to that scripture, you will then go to 1 Corinthians 13:4-7 to learn what love is. Am I speaking in a way that is patient? Am I operating in a way that is patient, that is kind, that is not envious, that is not boastful, that is not prideful, that does not keep a record of wrongs? And if I'm doing any of those things, I am not being loving.
That's why I would say relationship with God is so important, because in knowing that, sometimes people gonna miss the word. Just keep it a buck. Because sometimes folks don't read. But if you know God has treated you so good up to this point, He is the perfect example of how to treat others.
Mm-hmm.
Because we be so caught up in how humans treat. If we just realize, look, Jesus treated Judas like he was still his best friend, even though he
Right.
knew he was gonna betray him. Boy, that's a way to love, boy.
And he fills us up with that love for you, for other people, so that we can be overflowing. Like we could be so filled up with that love, it's overflowing, and we can share it. And as we continue to seek him, he will continue to pour that love in us, and our cup will always be filled, and your cup will always be filled, and somebody else's cup will always be filled. We are supposed to be filling one another's cup, and the source of that cup being filled is always God, period.
Yep. And I don't know why DMX just popped up in my head. I don't know if you've seen this TikTok floating around lately, but it's conversation with DMX and with the Drink Champ, right? On to another interview, right? And this is what like the most human version of what Jesus used to do to people. And DMX broke it down in so DMXy of a way. I can't even repeat the same. But he was kind of saying like, you ain't gotta cut off people like that because of you, how you feel, but you need to know how to recognize who's who.
Oh, I know. I have seen it. Trust them to be who they are.
Yeah. You ain't gotta be stopped trusting people. You just need to trust in who they are.
And like, even if it's not who they will always be, sometimes it's not who they will always be. That's not like an excuse to like keep toxic people in your life or anything like that. No. But understand like where people are, be able to see where people are right now
and treat them better.
To be that. Trust them to be that. Trust them to be like, okay, this is just where you are right now. Yeah. I still love you. I may have to separate and distance myself from you because how you treat how you where you are right now can be detrimental to me. And I ain't really trying to mess with that. But I still love you. I still love you. And also, and I'm in this place as well. Oh, Jesus. I'm in this place as well.
Now, I'm gonna say this though, for just before you go off on that tangent. What I'm also realizing that there are people that you must have to separate yourself from, but the people that you cannot, or you feel like you can't, i.e. family, most of the time. Just like Jesus treated Judas, I'm going to treat you better than the person that you are, but I'm not going to be foolish enough to not know who you are.
Right. So I know who you are. I know where you are right now.
Right.
I know why you got there, how you got there, or at least a little bit of it.
Right. And so it's like this. I know you still all the time. I'm still gonna love you and treat you better than a dude I know who steal. But I ain't gonna be stupid enough to keep all my stuff outside so you can see it, so you can steal it. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Like, I love you. I love where you. I love even where you are right now. God gonna use it for your good and for His glory. I can't really rock with it myself.
Yeah, I can't lean with and rock with it with you over there. But I love you though.
And I ain't gonna speak ill. Yeah, you need some. I'll give you a hug. You need some prayer. I got you. Like, if you need something, I got you, just because of where my heart is. And I know like people need, and when people need, they need. Like, I feel like people's needs should be met, period.
The main reason why I want to go to social work, because I want to help people's needs be met.
And that's really it. Like, I look at the world and I'm just like, why are people's needs not met? Like,
because corruption
that's another thing. Like, the enemy is moving so much and deceiving us so much to believe that we are only supposed to help ourselves and not others.
Mm-hmm.
We're supposed to help each other. And then
it's such a battle between the two cultures.
Yeah, and it's like, then there's the deception of, well, you not even trying to help yourself and pull yourself up by your bootstraps and X, Y, Z and all that stuff.
First of all, I ain't got no boots.
People don't know how. They need help figuring out how to do that.
I ain't got no boots.
Exactly.
I used to tell people all the time when I was in some of my social work classes, because some of my classmates, not gonna lie, should not be social workers. Because they literally had the mentality of still, you need to be able to pull yourself up by your bootstraps. And I literally asked in class, I said, but what if you ain't got no boots?
Exactly.
Like, how can I pull straps that don't exist?
Sometimes people just need a seed to be sown. And then somebody need to come in and sow another seed and another seed and another seed. And over time, God will do his part in nourishing the seed, watering the seed, making sure the seed grows. You don't know what your seed can do for somebody.
And
help people. Stop being buttholes. Help people.
And not just that, I will feel like this. Sometimes it ain't even your job to plant the seed. Sometimes God will send somebody to do the watering.
Right.
To do the adding the miracle grow. You shouldn't, but hey, that's how you plant. Somebody gonna come by and you supposed to be the sunlight to provide them the nutrients to grow. You probably supposed to be that person, but you so mad at the fact that didn't nobody water you that
or
you
you
just
mad,
like, I ain't watering nobody else.
Listen, if we gonna talk about Jesus and Judas or Jesus and Peter,
the gangster,
you so mad that the person you supposed to be shining the light on didn't shine light on you. You don't want to shine light on them. What if God been speaking to you about shining light on them, but you so bitter and so angry about what they did and what they did when the enemy was moving through them, what they did when their brokenness was moving through them, when the enemy was using their brokenness against them. You so pissed off
and they ain't like that no more.
And they ain't even like that no more. Or they trying not to be, they're trying to be better.
Oh, I know this from my anime heads, but this is just in comparison. So Attack on Titan.
Okay.
I know it's like, but just me. In Attack on Titan, there's a group of people. I'm not gonna spoil it for people who don't understand everything. There's a group of people. Somebody's gonna be a spoiler, somebody ain't, who literally caused atrocities back 150 to 2,000 years prior, right? Mm-hmm. They got their memories erased. And like the most recent century or a century before, right? They have no idea that they have committed any of these atrocities. But the world still sees them as the same people who committed the atrocities. So although these people have no memory of doing these things and also have no link because there are new generations that have been pushed out since then that have never had any issues. The only thing they know is they got chaos outside of their home and they can't leave. To the point where they got walls up. They have no idea what the outside world is. They've never seen anything beyond their island. They didn't even know they was on the island. But the outside world still hate them so much from what they did in the past that they still attack them to this day. And they have no memory of this situation. No nothing. They ain't got nothing. And that's how folks be treating people.
Yeah.
These folks have been redeemed. Now, you might still be mad about how they did you, but they ain't that person no more. They've explained to you they ain't that person no more. They have treated you like they not that person no more.
God has confirmed that they
ain't that person no more. So the only person still holding them to their past is you.
And now you need to go to God.
And you need to do that. Because God already solved it. You the problem at this point. They ain't in the problem no more. You the problem.
And even you gotta have a sit-down conversation with that person and be like, the reason I was doing like this is because I still saw you as this person.
If that's what God moves you to do, you need to do that.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Because sometimes they ain't even worth all that. If God ain't told you that, you don't worry about it. But sometimes, even if that person has not changed, I forgot what proverb or somebody said it. It's like hatred is like drinking poison, hoping another person to die.
Mm-hmm.
So
forgive them, pray for them. Yes, pray for them. That's the most loving thing you can do. Even if you can't physically be loving to them, the most loving thing you can do is pray for them.
Praying for them deeper than your emotions.
Exactly. Pray for them because whatever they did to you, best believe there is something that was done to them too, and they are trying to deal with it. Or it is what contributed to them doing you how they did you. And they are hurt and they are broken and they need healing just as bad as you do. It don't make it right that they hurt you, but understand they still need the prayer too.
and trust and believe. It is more love in praying for somebody you don't like.
Yeah.
Because
It's
that's
easy to
literally
pray for
turning
people you
the
like.
cheek.
That's so easy. It's so easy to pray for people you like.
Oh, I'm
Even
gonna have to do that right after I
Jesus
get off the
on
phone.
the, huh?
I'm gonna do this right after I get off the podcast. I gotta go pray for some people, folks. Not that I don't like, but the fact that I got conflict.
Yeah. Jesus,
and that's probably
even,
what God's trying to teach me in this level of my life is just look, that some folks still gonna be the same. Will you be
yeah,
better?
still be loving to them. Even if you can't bring yourself to be loving to them physically, give it to me and at least just pray for them.
And I handled it.
And like even Christ on the cross straight up said, like he was like, forgive them, they know not what they are doing. There are people who just don't know what they are doing. They
And they
don't
still
know
out
that
here
they're hurting you to the depths that they're hurting you. It's just normal to them. Even
because
if you've
they've been
expressed
hurt
it.
the same way.
Exactly. And even if you've expressed it to them, they still may not see it that way.
Nope.
They don't know what they are doing. Pray that God gives them clarity to understand what they're doing, so that they don't do it to somebody else. Maybe y'all cross paths so that somebody can reach out and be like, yo, you don't know what you're doing. God, they don't really know what they're doing. And I don't want them to hurt somebody else in this way. Yes, I'm hurting. I also don't want nobody to hurt in this way either. So can you help them see what they're doing? It's that simple. It's also that hard.
Because
Because
you
the
gotta
hard
open,
part is
you gotta
moving
get over
past
yourself.
yourself.
Yo, you gotta get past yourself.
Let go of what this world has taught you. Yes, you still matter. Your emotions still matter. Don't misunderstand me.
But God is more important than your emotions.
God, he sure is. God is more important than your emotions. And he wants you to still love his people. Even if all that can be done is saying, God, I want to pray for this person. I want to pray for this person, but I ain't there yet. Even if you got to get there, even if you got to ask God to help you get there, they're still loving that.
Because you being honest, open, and transparent. Pastor Mike Todd, I appreciate
Oh my goodness. So that's
For
all
real
I
talk.
have. Go ahead.
But no, that's just like you just got to get to the point the way you honest with God and you honest with yourself. Like, look, I can't do this.
Yeah.
Like, I still talk bad. I still talk ill on people. Lord, help me, train me with my tongue.
Right. I had to be there yesterday. When I tell you, when it came out my mouth, and then there was a time after where a thought came, and I was like, I don't like this. Why is my heart in this place? And I had to be like, God, this is where my heart is right now, and I don't like that. Please help me, so that I can better serve your people and be loving to your people. Because I know it grieves you to see me hurt other people, even with my tongue.
Right.
I have to get like that with somebody else. Like I was at a point where I was like, God, I don't know if I can talk to this person just because X, Y, and Z has happened. I don't know if I can interact with this person. I don't know how to interact with this person. Mostly it was from a judgmental state. And then I asked God to help me and fix my heart on it and heal my heart on it. And he's been doing that. And I'm able to like handle that person better and see them in a different light, because one of the main things that I prayed for is for God to help me to see that person through his eyes instead of my own. Because if I see the person through my own eyes, I will keep looking back at the past.
And you ain't no good though.
Exactly. But if I see the person through God's eyes, I'm able to love them better, even from a distance. Or even in minor interactions, I'm still able to love them better.
That's all he wants. And at this point, I have learned God honors both both an achievement and an attempt.
Yes. That's what it means by he knows your heart. He knows your heart does not mean I'm gonna keep on sinning, but God know my heart. That's not what that is. It's I made an attempt. Like God is like, I know you made an attempt. This was a slip up for you. I know you made an attempt. It's all right. I know this ain't what you meant to happen. I know it was an accident.
Right.
It's the same grace that we give to toddlers, to children.
Mm-hmm.
I know you didn't mean for this to happen. I know you was trying to pour the juice in the cup and you just made a mess.
And we're supposed to treat everybody else like that too. It's a good one.
Yeah. So that's all we have. Thank you, Lord, for this one. That's all we have this week. I thank God so much for this episode. I really hope that it touched you. We pray that it touched you. If you know someone who needs to hear this, share it.
Like, comment, subscribe.
Like, comment, subscribe, rate, review, all that.
Apple Podcasts, Spotify,
Apple, Spotify, Google, everything.
We here. We out here.
Follow us on Instagram, Twitter.
I ain't gonna hold you. We gonna try to post more on Twitter. Twitter is a very wild place.
Listen, I can't even stay on Twitter longer than 5 seconds. So
cause something crazy coming.
Exactly.
But we gonna try. We gonna try.
But
it's toxic up there.
If nobody has told you today, I love you as you are, no matter what, 100%. Even if as you're trying to grow and as you're trying to be better, I love you.
And we ain't no better than you. We're trying to figure it out too.
We are not better than you. We're trying to figure it out. God still loves us. God still loves you. You are loved by us. We get it. You're doing the best you can with what you got. And sometimes you just don't know what you're doing. And that's even you not knowing, I love you even in you not knowing. And I love you even in your ignorance. Not ignorance in a disrespectful way, but like in your pure ignorance. You just don't know.
Don't know. And you will know soon if you seek it.
And it is my prayer that you do know. If you are in the position where you don't, which most of us are. So that's all we have. Y'all have an awesome day, week, month, year, life.
Because we in June now, people.
Yes.
And if you listen to us early or either late, I'm still going to say it all month of June. Happy Juneteenth.
Oh my goodness. It is June 2nd.
Y'all don't care. They might listen to it on Juneteenth. They might be not behind. You don't know.
That's true. All right, y'all. Peace.
Yeah.